The battle balloon network, an unseen web of eyes in the sky, shaping wars long before airplanes ever existed. A war fought not just on land, but in the skies. This was centuries before airplanes even existed. Strange floating machines became silent eyes above the battlefield, forming a network of balloons that changed how armies fought, spied, and even defended entire cities. Today, let's uncover 6 extraordinary true stories of the battle balloon network. Want to know what secrets lie above the battlefield? Let's go and see it together. First, the French Revolution's first battle balloons. In 1794, during the French Revolutionary Wars, France unveiled a weapon no one had seen before, a giant balloon called l'entreprenant. Tethered by ropes, it floated high above the battlefield of Fleurus. From this vantage point, French observers spotted enemy troop movements and signaled commands to generals below. It wasn't a gun, but intelligence turning the tide of war through the power of vision. The Compagnie d'Aérostiers, France's balloon corps, became history's first organized military balloon network. Their presence terrified enemies who believed the French now had eyes in the sky. But this early experiment was fragile. Balloons were hard to move, weather-dependent, and vulnerable to gunfire. Still, the idea spread, planting seeds for future armies who saw the value of a watchful sky. Second, the American Civil War Balloon Corps, 1861 to 1865. Fast forward to the American Civil War. A scientist named Thaddeus Lowe convinced President Lincoln to create the Union Army Balloon Corps. With tethered balloons, Lowe built a network of aerial scouts. His balloons were connected to telegraphs, sending real-time battlefield reports, a revolutionary communication system decades ahead of its time. From high above, Lowe could see Confederate troop movements miles away. At the Battle of Fair Oaks, his reports guided Union artillery with stunning accuracy. Confederate soldiers panicked, calling the balloons unfair machines. For the first time in history, information traveled instantly from the sky to the ground, a true battle balloon network in action. But the Balloon Corps struggled. Balloons were hard to transport, and critics in the military called them expensive toys. By 1863, the Corps was disbanded. Yet, its legacy lived on. The idea of linking balloons into a surveillance network showed the world how skies could be weaponized without a single shot fired. Third, balloons in European wars and World War I. By the late 1800s, European armies refined balloon tactics. Britain, Germany, and Russia all created balloon units, using them for artillery spotting and intelligence. Unlike airplanes, balloons could hover for hours, providing steady observation. As tensions grew before World War I, these balloons became a standard part of military planning, silent guardians hanging over armies. When World War I erupted, balloons dominated the skies, not as glamorous as planes, but just as vital. Observation balloons were tethered along the front lines, directing artillery strikes with deadly precision. German Zeppelins became terror weapons, while tethered balloons dotted the Western Front, creating an almost continuous skyline of eyes watching enemy trenches. But balloons were also targets. Fighter pilots nicknamed them sausages and risked their lives to shoot them down. Pilots diving on balloons faced machine gun fire and explosive gas. Many called them suicide missions. Despite the danger, balloons survived as key parts of the war effort, proving the resilience of this simple yet powerful tool. The fourth, World War II barrage balloons. By World War II, balloons had a new role: defense. Britain deployed thousands of barrage balloons over cities, harbors, and factories. Huge steel cables dangled from them, threatening to tear apart enemy aircraft. This aerial shield forced German bombers to fly higher, ruining their accuracy and saving countless lives during the Blitz. The balloons weren't just for London. Entire networks of barrage balloons stretched over industrial sites, coastal defenses, and even Allied ships. Sailors watched as balloons bobbed above their decks, forming invisible walls against dive bombers. What started as fragile balloons in 1794 had now evolved into one of the most massive aerial defenses in history. Still, barrage balloons had drawbacks. Storms shredded them, and crashes caused accidents. Yet their psychological effect was enormous. German pilots feared them, and British citizens saw them as symbols of resistance. These floating guardians proved that sometimes the simplest weapon could stand against the deadliest air forces in the world. Fifth, Japan's fire balloons, Fugo. Meanwhile, Japan created a darker kind of balloon weapon. In 1944, they launched Fugo fire balloons, carrying bombs across the Pacific Ocean. These unmanned balloons rode jet streams, drifting thousands of miles to North America. Their goal? Start massive forest fires and terrorize civilians. About 9,000 balloons were launched. Some reached the US, Canada, and even Mexico. Fires were limited, but the balloons killed 6 people in Oregon when one exploded. It marked the only World War II deaths on US soil caused by enemy action. This bizarre balloon campaign showed how fragile, yet frightening, a network of floating weapons could be. The US military kept the attacks secret. Fearing panic, few Americans even knew they were under balloon attack. Japan abandoned the project, but the Fugo campaign revealed something chilling. Even balloons could cross oceans and deliver destruction, linking 2 continents through silent, drifting weapons. Sixth, Cold War spy balloons. In the Cold War, balloons returned not for bombing, but for spying. Before satellites, the US launched Project Genitrix, sending cameras attached to high-altitude balloons drifting over the Soviet Union and China. These spy balloons carried advanced equipment, capturing photos of secret bases while floating far above fighter jets' reach. The Soviets quickly caught on. Many balloons were shot down and tensions grew. But balloons were cheap, expendable, and could travel thousands of miles. Though satellites eventually replaced them, Cold War balloon projects proved that the skies were still a battlefield of intelligence, long after the days of cannons and muskets. Ironically, these spy balloons laid groundwork for modern surveillance networks. They foreshadowed how the world would use satellites, drones, and high-tech balloons to watch every corner of the globe. From 1794 to the Cold War, balloons evolved from fragile silk gas bags into a strategic global network of eyes. Looking back, the battle balloon network wasn't just about machines, it was about human imagination. Soldiers and scientists across centuries turned fragile fabric and gas into tools of power. They remind us that even the simplest inventions can shift the balance of history when connected into a network of innovation. From the skies above Flores to the Cold War, balloons carried more than gas, they carried ideas. Across these 6 extraordinary stories, we've seen how fragile fabric turned into powerful networks of vision, defense, and fear. Next time you spot a balloon drifting overhead, remember, it might just be part of history's strangest battlefield. If stories like these spark your curiosity, stay close. Our next journey is already rising on the horizon.